Hello and welcome to Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley Caronia. Welcome into the show. If you are watching on X or on Facebook, hello. I would urge you, though, to come over to Rumble. Rumble.com/Hayley brings you to the Bongino Report channel. Make sure that you're subscribed because we are stuck at a very unfortunate 666,000 followers, and I'd like to get it up to 667 if we can. So tell a friend, send the link to this show, tell them to subscribe. Every little bit helps. If you can't watch us live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday to Friday, that is A-okay. You can watch whenever you want on Rumble, or, of course, you can listen wherever you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you end up watching. Make sure that you are subscribed, make sure that you like, make sure that you leave a nice comment, say something nice about me. All of it matters. All of it helps. So I appreciate every single one of you. Let's get into tonight's show. The House Freedom Caucus led an effort to censure Delegate Stacey Plaskett over her text messages with Jeffrey Epstein during Michael Cohen's 2019 congressional hearing, and that effort failed. I will get into why that happened and the reaction from some House Republicans who are rightfully disgusted. Also, Joy Reid, former MSNBC host, she was canned. Now she's got her own podcast. She was on a podcast admitting that she would be horrified, actually, to walk into a locker room and see a man and his manhood. Well, welcome to the club, Joy. Will she condemn the normalization of trans men in women's spaces, or will she just admit the truth and then turn a blind eye and continue to parrot all those Democrat talking points? I think we know the answer to that. Also, Dearborn, Michigan residents are complaining about mosques amplifying the call to prayer 5 times a day at 70 decibels, and the mayor doesn't see an issue with it. Also, a former Democrat has been sentenced to 3 years of probation after a PPP loan COVID fraud scheme. It all makes sense now why these Democrats wanted to lock us down. They were making money off of it. Before we get into the show, quick message from our sponsor, Beam. All right, Beam's cyber sale is now open for early access for my listeners, and it is their best offer of the year. Right now, my listeners get up to 50% off with my code SCROLL. You can grab Dream by Beam for just $32.50. That breaks down to only $1.08 per night for the best sleep of your life. Go to shopbeam.com/scroll and use code SCROLL, and don't miss out. This is the lowest price Dream has ever been sold anywhere, and it will likely sell out quickly. Dream is a powder that you can mix into milk. You can mix it into water. It's super easy. It is packed with ingredients your body actually needs to sleep. Reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and yes, even melatonin, but dosed intelligently, not like the drugstore garbage that knocks you out, leaves you groggy. So now's the time. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount. Go to shopbeam.com/scroll and use code SCROLL and get up to 50% off during Beam's cyber sale. You can grab Dream for just $32.50, but here's the catch. Dream is only available at this price until it sells out. So seriously, think about it. How much would you pay for a truly great night of sleep? With Beam's cyber price, it's just $1.08 per night. Go to shopbeam.com/scroll and try Beam today. All right, put those phones. Do not disturb. Nightly Scroll starts now. Thank you, Gee. Gosh, you got to be on your toes in here. Wasn't even ready. All right, the show is starting. Now, 3 Republicans voted against punishing that delegate, Stacey Plaskett. We've been talking about this all week long on the show. Stacey Plaskett, she represents the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands. That is where Jeffrey Epstein had 2 islands where he carried out sex trafficking. And, he invited all of his rich friends to come down and do what to young girls? I don't even want to know, right? So what he was carrying out on this island was gross. And it turns out that he's on a texting basis with the delegate representing the Virgin Islands in Congress. And yes, she's a Democrat. And now, Republicans, this is all coming to light with the Epstein files coming out. And Republicans say, we should censure her, that you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to be texting Jeffrey Epstein, a known pedophile. And he's feeding you questions to Michael Cohen in a hearing to get Trump. Well, that has to be punished. So Republicans tried. 3 Republicans voted against it. 3 more Republicans voted present. and 4 sat out the vote entirely. So why did these Republicans do that? The vote ended up not going forward. It was 209 to 214. And Congressman Don Bacon from Nebraska, Congressman Lance Gooden from Texas, Congressman Dave Joyce from Ohio, they voted with the Democrats. I will also say, by the way, no Democrat voted to censure their fellow Democrat for texting with Jeffrey Epstein. I thought the Democrats wanted all the transparency, release the files. They only want to release the files if it's going to get Trump. If it's not going to get Trump, they're going to protect their own. So 3 other Republicans voted present. That is Congressman Andrew Garbino from New York, Congressman Dan Muser from Pennsylvania, and Congressman Jay Obernolte from California. All Republicans voting no. Why not want to punish a Democrat for texting with Jeffrey Epstein? Well, it turns out that there's a little bit of tit for tat going on. Because the GOP didn't censure Plaskett, Democrats, they basically said, okay, well, if you're not going to censure Stacey Plaskett, we won't pursue a censure of Congressman Corey Mills, who's a Republican from Florida. He's been accused of stolen valor, some financial misconduct, and domestic abuse. He denies all of these claims. But if the censure of Plaskett went through, Democrats would have gone after Corey Mills. So some of these Republicans were kind of standing in solidarity with Corey Mills. And if he was censured, they could have removed him from the Armed Services Committee. Other than that, censuring someone doesn't do too much. It's kind of like a formal slap on the wrist. Like, we're letting the record show that we don't agree with what you did a bad thing, but it doesn't really do much else. Corey Mills even wrote on X that he himself voted to censure Plaskett. But Republicans were rightfully disturbed that this didn't go through. And these Republicans really don't seem to care what happens to Corey Mills if he gets thrown off of this Armed Services Committee or not. And I tend to agree. But I think, Stacey Plaskett should have been censured regardless. I mean, who cares about Corey Mills? They were trying to do this tit for tat thing, but I just think, why do you have to censure this one and like, why does it have to be this package deal? Just go after Stacey Plaskett. If Democrats want to go after Corey Mills, then go after Corey Mills. So Tim Burchett from Tennessee, he was disgusted. Here's the video that he posted on X last night. Watch.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett, Late Vote Series to censor delegate Stacey Plaskett. She's the one that was received a sizable contribution from Epstein, which apparently is legal, I'm not sure, but she also is the one who was texting with him during a committee hearing, getting instructions on how to better attack Trump from Epstein, sending her the text. And so she's on some pretty powerful committees, and that just tells you how corrupt this place is. But the disgusting thing about it was 4 Republicans chose not to vote. 3 Republicans voted present, and 3 Republicans voted no. So it failed. And what they did was they cut a deal. They cut a deal on an ethics vote on a Republican, and that's just wrong. If everybody ought to just stand on their own. If it were truly, we don't care whose party these sex offenders and all this other stuff are in, we're going after them, then we start cutting deals. To me, it's really disgusting.
Totally agree. It is disgusting. Why is there a tit for tat? Why can't, if Republicans want to censure Stacey Plaskett, which they should, and she should be censored for this, why not just go through with it? Why is Corey Mills like collateral damage? I don't understand. Anna Paulina Luna, also from Florida, willing to call out Corey Mills. Watch this.
For what purpose does the gentlelady from Florida seek recognition?
I have a parliamentary inquiry.
The gentlelady from Florida will state her inquiry.
I was wondering if the Speaker of the House of Representatives can explain why leadership on both sides, both Democrat and Republican, are cutting back-end deals to cover up public corruption in the House of Representatives for both Republican and Democrat members of Congress.
The gentlelady has not stated a proper parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you very much, but I think the American people know what happened tonight.
Not a proper inquiry? You know, Nancy Mace from South Carolina, she also came out against this. She said this: another backroom deal so Corey Mills can't get censured for stolen valor. I have the general who recommended him for the Bronze Star on record saying he never wrote it, never read it, never personally signed it. This is Washington. Also, Kat Kamik from Florida, another one of a Florida representative willing to throw Corey Mills under the bus, saying tonight a handful of Republicans took a dive on a vote to strip Stacey Plaskett of her position on House Intel because of her ties to Epstein. They did it to protect a Republican facing his own ethics issues from a similar vote. This backroom deal shit is swampy, wrong, and it always deserves to be called out. I'm proud of Republicans here for calling out their own when they're, doing anything wrong. It doesn't matter what party you're on, what side you're on. If you're accused of wrongdoing, we are going to come for you. I love it. But Stacey Plaskett, she is on a worldwide defense tour of herself. She's on all the media saying, well, he's just a constituent of mine. I was just texting him. It's no big deal. Here she is.
I believe that Jeffrey Epstein had information, and I was going to get information to get at the truth. Having a friendship with him is not something that I would deem to have. And so I'm just looking forward. I'm moving forward. And I think that that's what we as American people should do, is move forward. If individuals are not involved in illegal activity, extending his criminal enterprise or his financial enterprise or all of those things, I think that we need to look at what people are doing moving forward.
Wait, let me just better understand that. What is that point? Because at the time he was a known sex offender and it had been detailed all the sexual abuse.
There are a lot of people who have done a lot of crimes, and as a prosecutor, you get information from people where you can.
So she'll do a deal with the devil just to get the exact line of questioning that she wanted or the information that she wanted. I mean, literally, she'll be in bed with a sex offender, a known sex offender, to get Trump. I mean, then she's saying, well, I was just getting information from him. I was just getting information. Jeffrey Epstein was telling her exactly what to ask Michael Cohen. Then she says, well, we weren't really that close. We weren't really on, a friend-to-friend basis. I wouldn't say he was a friend of mine. Well, Jeffrey Epstein felt friendly enough with her to text her during a congressional hearing and tell her exactly what to say. And she trusted this sex offender enough to parrot exactly what he was telling her to do. That's because Jeffrey Epstein had power, and that's because she and other Democrats needed his money to win elections. And of course, she says at the end of that clip there, we just need to move forward. I think the American people, we just need to move forward. Of course. But she knew that he was a known sex offender, and she's known for years. She was even asked about it in 2023. Watch this.
Does Representative Plaskett have anything to say? Business Insider has reported on this as recently as, I believe, July of 2023, about meeting with Jeffrey Epstein in 2018 and receiving $30,000 of campaign contribution.
Jeffrey Epstein was a resident of the Virgin Islands. He wanted to make contributions to the Democratic Party. He asked for a contribution. He made contributions to my campaign. I do believe that he was a reprehensible person. And after finding out what he had done, I gave the money that he had contributed to my campaign to nonprofit organizations dealing with supporting women and children in my community.
So he was reprehensible, but she took his text messages and said exactly what he wanted her to say. He was reprehensible, but she had his phone number. They were buddy-buddy. he was reprehensible, but she took his money anyway. Then, of course, when it became public that he was a sex offender, and she says, okay, well, after she gets elected, then she gives the money back. But Jeffrey Epstein still felt like he had something on her. Stacey Plaskett owed him something. He had power over her. And what she demonstrated in 2019 is that she let Jeffrey Epstein dog walk her. If Jeffrey Epstein wanted her to ask Michael Cohen anything, she was going to do it. She didn't even really know what she was talking about. Jeffrey Epstein was saying, ask him about Rona. She was like, Rona. Then she didn't even know her name, Rona Graff. Then she's like, Rona. I mean, she's texting like, quick, I'm coming up next. Tell me what you want me to say. So whether or not she gave the money back, Jeffrey Epstein had his nails sunk into her anyway. Then, of course, Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, he was asked on CNN by Caitlin Collins whether or not he thought that this was appropriate. And here's his very long non-answer. Watch.
Well, Stacey Plaskett is not accused of violating any House rule, any law, any statute, and she's clearly and unequivocally denounced Jeffrey Epstein. And I think what the survivors fought for today is the type of transparency that came out of the House, went through the Senate, and is now on its way to Donald Trump's desk, where hopefully he'll sign it into law, because at the end of the day, all the American people are asking for is just the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, which is why these Epstein files that Donald Trump and his administration has been hiding for months need to be released.
But do you think it was appropriate for her to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein 11 years after he pleaded guilty?
I mean, I have not had a conversation with Stacey Plaskett to discuss this issue because we've been focused today on making sure that there was a decisive vote as it related to the Epstein files and the release. I'm thankful for the work of Representative Massey, of Ro Khanna, but most importantly, the survivors.
Is it appropriate? He doesn't give an answer. Again, is it appropriate? Well, I haven't talked to her about it. Why would you need to talk to Stacey Plaskett about it? Make up your own mind. You're asked on the spot by friendly CNN. Is this appropriate? Of course, Hakeem Jeffries can't say no, because he and Democrats took Jeffrey Epstein's dirty money to win seats in Congress. So he can't be on the record saying, no, it's inappropriate. He's implicated. Plus, Jen Psaki was interviewing an Epstein survivor, and this just goes to show, this whole exchange goes to show how badly they want to get Trump, and this Epstein survivor just wouldn't give in. Watch.
Did you travel to Mar-a-Lago?
Yes, I did.
And how did you arrive at Mar-a-Lago? How did you end up going to Mar-a-Lago? Did he send you there? Were you told to go there? How did that happen?
There were a lot of model parties at the Mar-a-Lago. Different people would set them up, different magazines, and a limo would come and you'd jump in the limo and you'd go.
And Jeffrey Epstein or someone who worked for him would tell you to go there?
No. It was just a place where something was held, a party was held, and people would go to different events.
This is about so much more than one person, Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell or Donald Trump. But because Donald Trump is a person who, of course, owns Mar-a-Lago, I just have to ask if you think he was aware of that arrangement.
I don't know if he was aware. Actually, I can't answer that. I'm sorry.
And you were in your teens. You were in your teens.
Yeah.
And I think this is important for people to understand that people were in their teens and were young, and you were a young model, mm-hmm. and you were handled by a predator.
Desperately trying to get this very clearly anxious Epstein victim to admit to Trump's wrongdoing. And she said, well, I don't know if Trump was involved. I don't know if he was aware, but these are these parties that happened at Mar-a-Lago. And of course, it's an event venue. But Jen Psaki has to say, well, of course it's owned by Donald Trump, and therefore, who took you there and who sent the limo and how did this all happen? And she did not feel comfortable asking those questions or answering those questions, that line of questioning from Jen Psaki. Also interesting to note that economist, former U.S. Secretary of the Treasury under Bill Clinton, economic advisor to Barack Obama, and former president of Harvard University, Larry Summers, he was included in these Epstein files. And here he is talking to his students, saying that he deeply regrets being involved in these Epstein files. And in those emails, Summers was asking Jeffrey Epstein for advice with women. And Epstein said that he was a good wingman. So Larry Summers, Harvard University professor and former president, he's teaching at Harvard. He's calling on Epstein to be his wingwoman or his wingman for women. Here he is explaining that to his students. Watch.
Some of you will have seen my statement of regret, expressing my shame with respect to what I did in communication with Mr. Epstein, and that I've said that I'm going to step back from public activities for a time, but I think it's very important to fulfill my teaching.
Stepping back from public activities.
So with your permission, we're going to go forward and talk about the material in the class.
And we're going to move along and continue with the class. Sorry that I'm in the Epstein files. Let's get to the classroom material. How could you move on and be a student in that class? I don't know. I would not be able to look at my professor in the same light. I just wouldn't. But he wants to continue teaching. Harvard is opening an investigation into his ties to Epstein, but he resigned from his board position at OpenAI. And President Trump said late last week, that Attorney General Pam Bondi is also going to investigate Epstein's involvement with Summers and Clinton. And Bondi is assigning Jay Clayton, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, to investigate him. But could you imagine you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to a once prestigious elite school? You get into Harvard University and you're being taught by Jeffrey Epstein's friend, who calls on Jeffrey Epstein, a known pedophile, for help with girls. So that's one option. You go to Harvard and that's your professor. Or like we showed in multiple videos on the show yesterday, you could just go to class and if you so dare to become a member of Turning Point USA, the chapter on your college campus, you will be called fascist by your professor. Why people go to college anymore, I don't know. Anyway, quick commercial break here, talking about Blackout Coffee. Let's talk about real convenience without sacrificing quality. You already know I'm a huge fan of Blackout, and if you're like me and you need that caffeine fix fast in the morning, their coffee pods are a total game changer. These are not your average grocery store pods. Blackout pods are packed with fresh roasted, bold coffee made right here in Florida. And they work with those single-serve pod brewers. It is fast, it is easy, and it is very delicious. I love all the flavors. Holiday season's coming up. I'm a big peppermint mocha girl, so if you are like me, go check it out. It's not bitter, it's not stale. You just pop in one of those coffee pods, and boom, you've got a strong, smooth cup in just seconds. So if you're racing out the door, juggling kids, jumping into back-to-back calls, this is your new morning lifesaver. And the best part is they ship nationwide. So no matter where you live, you can have Florida fresh coffee at your door in just days. Head to blackoutcoffee.com/scroll. Also want to tell you about Bond Charge. Are you looking for a natural way to rejuvenate your skin and boost your wellness? Meet Bond Charge, a holistic wellness brand with products designed to help optimize your life. My personal favorite is the Bond Charge red light face mask. I'm going to have to post a picture of me wearing this on Instagram so you all can see. I love it. I use it for 15 minutes every night. I started using it, noticing breakouts go away, fine lines and wrinkles going away. Wow, what a difference it helps with. Like I said, acne, wrinkles, eczema, migraines, even jaw soreness, and razor burn. So this is for men and women. I just use it 15 minutes a day. It's super easy. You can put it on while you're watching TV. I put it on when I'm scrolling on my phone, of course, when I'm reading. It is lightweight, doesn't get hot. It combines both near infrared and red light to help boost collagen and elastin production. Unlike other brands, Boncharge removes sleep-disrupting blue light and green light and has zero EMF radiation, zero flicker, and a sleek design, plus a 1-year warranty. My skin is clearer, smoother, glowing. I feel confident. Boncharge ships worldwide, offers easy returns, and their products are HSA, FSA eligible. It is currently the Boncharge holiday sale, so you can save a massive 25% off. Just head to boncharge.com and your 25% off code will be automatically added to your order, and the sale will end on the 31st. So December 2025, hurry, do not miss this massive chance to save big on your favorite Boncharge products. Love it. Absolutely love Boncharge. Check it out. All right. Democrats are urging law enforcement officers and members of the military to defy orders from the commander-in-chief. Get a load of this.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
Like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army, or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up. Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Don't give up the ship. They also say that you can and must refuse illegal orders. What is illegal, by the way, about law enforcement deporting illegal aliens? What is illegal about our military securing our southern border and securing cities that have become lawless? They are perpetuating this bald-faced lie that American citizens are being detained and then just disappeared by the Trump administration. I am an American citizen. I am not living in fear of being deported. I'm sure lots of you in the chat watching this right now are also American citizens not afraid of being deported. And these are former members of the military serving in Congress as Democrats, telling members of the military to defy the president's orders and to not follow chain of command, to rise up against the military and the government. This is sedition. It is a crime. And just because Democrats think that Trump's enforcement of immigration law is illegal doesn't make it so. They just don't like it. Trump isn't acting like a king. He's acting like a president. And he's actually nowhere near Obama's deportation numbers. So I say, get the numbers up and really give them something to fearmonger over. Do not stop until there are zero illegal aliens in this country. And these are Democrats, by the way, claiming that President Trump was overstepping and being a king by sending National Guard troops to certain cities across the country. Meanwhile, those troops are being sent home. So remember those National Guard troops? They were sent to LA, they were sent to Portland, they were sent to Chicago. Well, they're going home. In the coming days, 200 California National Guard troops that are deployed to Portland, they are going to be sent home. And the National Guard troops that are sent to Oregon, they are going to be cut in half. So is this something that a king would do? If a king is trying to get power over American citizens and fearmonger, is he going to pull troops out of cities? I don't think so. But President Trump, clearly he doesn't care about what these Democrats are saying. He's going to keep doing the job that he was elected to do. And now the Secretary of War is sending some of those troops to Memphis. So again, they say that this is like a Democrat, a blue state thing. It is not. He's sending these troops to Louisiana. He's sending these troops to Tennessee. Wherever there is crime, they are coming. And now over 800 National Guard troops have descended on Memphis, a city that's known for high crime. And guess who's next? New York City. Border czar Tom Homan, he gave a stark warning to New Yorkers. Listen to this.
But New York City, I plan on being in New York City in the near future. We're going to do operations in New York City. We know in New York City, me and Mayor Adams at one point had an agreement to let ICE into Rikers Island so we can arrest the public safety threats and the safety and security of that facility, but the city council shut it down. So we're going to be coming to New York City. We're already there now. I mean, teams are there now. But we will increase the enforcement presence in New York City, again, because they're a sanctuary city, and we know we have an issue there with public safety threats hitting the street every day.
With that
All right. So as we know, New Yorkers voted in Zohran Mamdani as the mayor, and he has already said what his plans are for the city. He's going to usher in more sanctuary policies that are even more extreme than Mayor Adams. Zohran Mamdani literally wants to get rid of the New York Police Department's anti-riot division. And I've lived through the summer of love in 2020 in New York City. It was quite scary. And during 2020, a lot of people had to leave the city. You know, their offices shut down. It was during COVID. They went home to their parents' house in New Jersey or elsewhere in New York or whatever. I was working at Fox News. I had to work every day. I had to go into the city. I was commuting in. This was all during defund the police. No police are found anywhere. I'm on the subway. It's scary. My friend was a nurse. She was a COVID ICU nurse at the time. It was me and her. I had a bunch of friends in New York City. They all left. It was just me and my friend who was a nurse. She had to drive to work because it was not safe to use the subways. Her car was bashed in during a riot. I was caught in a car, again, Uber, coming home from work one night, and it was horrific. There were flaming garbage on all sides of the street. I could feel it. Like, I could feel the heat coming off all the flame in the car that I was in. It was just destruction everywhere. That was when the NYPD had a anti-riot division. I can't imagine if there's a riot in Mamdani's New York City and there's no anti-riot division. And at least Mayor Eric Adams, he was a former NYPD officer. He was at least willing to work with the Trump administration. Tom Homan even said it in that clip that, you know, we worked with Eric Adams. We wanted to use Rikers Island to use it to put migrants there. So I can only imagine what New York City is going to look like under Zohran Mamdani. And it's interesting to see maybe a little bit of a shift. Maybe this is a reaction. New Yorkers saw, oh, shoot, we voted in Zohran Mamdani. You know, a lot of these Cuomo voters, maybe they're really not liking the way that things are going to be going. And as we know, Republican Elise Stefanik, she has launched a bid to run for governor against current governor Kathy Hochul over in New York. And she's closing in a little bit. So Kathy Hochul, she's super unlikable. We showed videos on this show over the summer and a few weeks ago. And, you know, she always gets booed and no one in the crowd ever likes her. You know, she's just got a D next to her name, so they vote for her. But Elise Stefanik, this is just yesterday, it's reported that she's gaining ground on Governor Hochul in 2026 because more independents are leaning red. So Democrats they're blue as they can be, right? The progressives that voted for Zohran Mamdani, they're a lost cause, right? But those people in the middle, they're probably very afraid of what New York City is going to look like. Maybe they're more likely to vote red in the gubernatorial election because it's going to be scary, right? If Mamdani just goes unchecked. So Stefanik has notched a 5-point increase on Hochul, even though Hochul is still up 20 points. But a lot can happen from now until next November. That's when the election is. So it'll be interesting to see what New York City looks like under Mayor Mamdani. and how Hochul responds. If New York City descends into chaos and she does absolutely nothing, that might hurt her. If progressives are super happy with how New York City looks under Mayor Mamdani, and then Hochul tries to fight him or block some of his moves and policies, that might hurt her too. And all of this could help Elise Stefanik. You know, if New Yorkers think that their city is succumbing to lawlessness and filth, and then businesses start to leave, New Yorkers start to leave, or some of that like city slop, the crime and all that trickles into Long Island and Westchester and New Jersey and some of these surrounding areas, this is going to be a problem. But will New York City get bad enough to turn New York red? Well, we have another year to find out. Speaking of another mayor, the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, he doesn't care that his residents are concerned about this Muslim call to prayer. So some Dearborn, Michigan residents, they've been complaining that a mosque plays the Muslim call to prayer over a loudspeaker. And one of these residents, she spoke to Fox News. She said, listen, your freedom of religion does not allow you to force me to listen to your prayers in my yard or in my home. And here is how the mayor responded. I would tell you, you know, those complaining about the call to prayer, I mean, it's very few. You still want to respect the wishes, and if you have a serious concern, I will have to uphold the law across all boards. Then he went on. But we've done decibel readings at these mosques, all within threshold, all within legal limit, and so for me, it's not an issue. And local police said that they would issue citations to any places of worship blasting out, you know, the call to prayer over the legal thresholds. But this woman claims that this mosque near her house is blasting this out at 70 decibels. And the resident has a good point about, you know, freedom of religion, and it's all well and good. I support that. But why does everyone have to listen to it? And in this Muslim call to prayer, it says this: I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God. Why should everyone have to hear that? You know, I was thinking of what is an equivalent? Is there an equivalent for another religion? You could maybe argue that, you know, church bells, they can be loud. The community can hear them. There are rules that churches have to follow, similar to mosques, that, you know, these church bells can't go off too early or too late in the day. They have to be at a certain decibel. But church bells are just bells. There are no messages about the Christian faith being amplified to the whole community against everyone's will. The Muslim call to prayer is amplified over loudspeakers at different mosques in the city 5 times a day. And like I said, it's amplifying that message of that faith. And clearly, based on this one Dearborn, Michigan resident, she says, this is bothering me in my house. I'm in my house and I'm hearing the Muslim call to prayer. This isn't just something that people can ignore. So then it begs the question, you know, in a country that was founded on religious freedom, are you free to push it on others 5 times a day at 70 decibels? Speaking of pushing things on other people, Joy Reid has made a very interesting shift on this trans issue. And we've been talking about this situation on this show for a while that happened at Gold's Gym. And Tish Hyman was the woman at the gym who was confronted by a violent trans in the locker room. And of course, it's a dude who's very violent. He was actually known to beat his ex-wife. Then he took her name, the ex-wife's name. Now he goes by Alexis as well. He wears red lipstick and he goes to the gym and then he yells at other women in the restroom and in the locker room. So Tish Hyman was the one that started sounding the alarm. She went to Gold's Gym. She said, hey, this dude is in the locker room and he's making me uncomfortable. And she, like I said, sounded the alarm. She's in the lobby making a ruckus, making a scene so that women know there is a man in the locker room. And Tish Hyman, being a black lesbian woman, is maybe reaching a different audience. I guess Democrats needed to hear it from a peer. And it's unfortunate that it's even happened to begin with. You know, Democrats call Riley Gaines a transphobe, a bigot, for saying all the same things that Tish Hyman did. But here is Joy Reid agreeing that if she saw a penis in a locker room, it would make her feel uncomfortable. Watch.
I would be disturbed. I'm telling you, I would be alarmed. I'm alarmed enough when I see a woman with her dangling boobies. Yeah. If I saw a penis in the ladies' locker room, I would freak out too. This is nothing against trans anybody. What it's saying is, if I turn around and I see a penis in front of me inside of the room, I would probably go to management and say, wait a minute, why is there a naked man in this room? Because just the world we live in, just from a safety standpoint, and just from a privacy standpoint, I can see why she would have gone and reported to management. There's a man naked in the bed. Now, if they clarified and they said, well, trans, okay, but I think they should take her concerns also seriously. Because if she's uncomfortable, does she not have the right to be at least uncomfortable with this situation, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And this is what Republicans have been saying for years. And Democrats have called them bigots, called them transphobes, homophobes, racist, fascist, whatever. Republicans get called names for calling out the truth. This is all Republicans have been saying. Women have the right to their own spaces. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not anti-trans, it's pro-woman. It is pro-woman to be concerned about women being confronted by naked men who are aggressive towards them in spaces that are supposed to be safe enough and private enough for women to change in. So I want to say thank you to Tish Hyman for speaking out against this injustice against women, regardless of politics, because Democrats are listening and they're waking up. Tish Hyman was the messenger they would listen to. Let's see if more of them listen. All right. FBI Director Kash Patel, he was talking about the COVID origins and how the deep state and the CIA played into the Democrats' narrative. Listen to this.
Gina Haspel, as director of the CIA under Trump, authorized 6 case officers and intelligence analysts to be paid off so that they would change their assessment on COVID origination.
Correct.
That's not a Kash Patel thing.
That's CIA.
That's a CIA institutional decision to spend taxpayer dollars to lie to the world where COVID came from because it fit the narrative that Fauci and the media wanted out there, along with Gina Haspel, because she didn't want Donald Trump to get the credit for reading the intel right and making the hard right decision. But what happens is we're 2 years down the road from that, 3, and that story's been written. You know, that iron has been cast. So half the public is like, what are you guys talking about? That's a right-wing conspiracy. And this is why it's so important to keep drilling at that work, because many more of these instances of conduct will come to light if brave whistleblowers, congressional oversight. And
that's given me a lot of hope.
Do you guys remember when the COVID lab leak theory was a conspiracy? As we know, as right-wing conspiracy theorists, we are undefeated. Truly everything, especially when it comes to COVID, that we thought was a conspiracy theory was 100% true. We said, hey, it's totally crazy that you're telling us to walk in different directions. They put arrows on the floor in, Walgreens or CVS or wherever. Go this way, don't go that way. If you go this way, COVID's going to get you. We're going to put in a curfew because if you're out past 8 p.m., COVID's going to get you. Hey, we're going to put circles on the grass in the park and you have to stay inside the circle with people in your household. You have to wear N95 masks. We all saw this and said, this is crazy. They said, you have to get this vaccine. It's going to stop the spread. It didn't. We thought, why are we listening to these people? And we were called crazy. Not only that, the president of the United States at the time, Joe Biden, said that we were all going to die if we didn't listen to them. So the deep state was certainly pushing that narrative. And it's pretty scary because Gina Haspel was at the CIA during Trump's first term. That is how deep the swamp runs. It's crazy. So the CIA wanted to push the wet bat theory when all of us thought, Fauci has been testing coronaviruses in a Wuhan lab in China, and this all got loose in Wuhan. And we're supposed to believe that this was some wet market, some dude ate a bat and started COVID-19. I'm not surprised that the CIA is involved, but it's concerning. And Democrats were pushing these lockdowns, remember? And now we have intel that a Virginia state lawmaker at the time was all part of a COVID-19 scheme. And he was very anti-Trump. And now he's been sentenced over a COVID fraud scheme with PPP loans. So this was Ibrahim Samira. He was a former Democratic member of the Virginia House of Delegates, and he was sentenced in Paycheck Protection Program loan scheme. In May of 2020, this was the height of COVID-19, the pandemic, he secured a loan for his dentist office. He has a dentist practice in Fairfax County. And prosecutors said that he received approximately $83,000 for his personal business. And according to court filings, he said, I'm going to apply for this PPP funds, these $83,000, and I'm going to use these $83,000 to pay 4 workers at the practice. Well, guess how many workers he actually had at his dental practice? 0. 0 workers at the practice. Nobody was on payroll. Nobody. Just him. So he pocketed $83,000 from the government, all because of COVID. And documents showed that the practice didn't even have any financial accounts capable of payroll. So then the sentence, he's sentenced to 3 years of probation after he pleaded guilty to 1 count of wire fraud. He's got 3 years of probation. He's also ordered to pay the $83,000 back in restitution. And it just makes you think, why did the Democrats push the lockdown so hard? Because it was the Democrats doing it. They wanted to close all of your businesses. They wanted to shut down the schools. The longer they could stretch out COVID-19 and make it an emergency, they could make the rules, they could rewrite the rules and make money off of a pandemic lockdown that was ruining the economy, ruining small businesses, making people depressed, keeping kids out of school. The treatment was worse than the disease, but not for slimy politicians who are making a quick buck off of all of it. All right, I've got one more thing that I want to get to before scrolling time, and that is Tucker Carlson and how much he gets under the skin of Senator Ted Cruz. And apparently, Ted Cruz is going to win. He's setting himself up to run for president in 2028. Here's the headline out of Axios. Ted Cruz sets the stage for 2028 run with Tucker jabs. So he's using the Tucker beef to launch, to get him into the spotlight, to prep him to run for president. So here is how the beef started. Watch this.
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of, it says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my... You pull out the phone and use the...
It's in Genesis. So you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it and you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology? I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker.
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two...
Hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But what... Hold on. Define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
Okay, so not only that, Tucker Carlson is also pressing Ted Cruz on whether or not he gets money from AIPAC, and the answer is yes. Watch this.
I've never taken money from the Israel lobby, have you?
Taken money from the Israel...
From AIPAC.
So AIPAC raises a lot of money for me, but it's actually a misnomer because the people who raise money are individuals, friendship, and relationship.
Is AIPAC a foreign lobby?
No, it's an American lobby. It's the AIPAC stands for the America-Israeli Political Action.
What does it lobby for?
So, to be honest, not a whole lot effectively. Listen, I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate.
Great.
I've worked every day to do that.
AIPAC is lobbying for a foreign government. And it's not.
No.
It's lobbying for the United States.
It is lobbying for a strong U.S.-Israeli relationship.
Okay. So it has nothing to do with the foreign government.
It wants America and Israel to be closely allied.
Okay, but it's lobbying on behalf of the interests of another country.
So that's not true at all. And if
not true.
No.
How much contact do you think AIPAC leaders have for the government of Israel?
No idea.
I mean, Ted Cruz literally said there that every day that he's in the Senate, the United States Senate, he's working to put Israel first. Whatever you believe about Israel is fine. I don't want a president of the United States to put anyone first but America. That's it. And this is how all the beef started, if you can even call it beef, right? Like Tucker was just like asking him pretty valid questions, right? And this Axios article about Ted Cruz launching this campaign, I mean, they're acting like Ted Cruz is running against Tucker Carlson because they say that Cruz is putting himself on a collision course with Vice President Vance because everyone seems to think that Vice President Vance will be the GOP frontrunner in 2028, and Vance is a Carlson ally. So it's Ted Cruz against Tucker Carlson, I guess, in the 2028 GOP primary. And it was funny because Ted Cruz was asked about this. Axios did this article and they reached out to Ted Cruz and then they reached out to Tucker Carlson. Here's what Ted Cruz had to say. "We have a responsibility to speak out even when it's uncomfortable. When voices in our own movement push dangerous and misguided ideas, we can't look the other way. I won't hesitate to call out those who peddle destructive, vile rhetoric and threaten our principles and our future. Silence in the face of recklessness is not an option." Then they called Tucker Carlson and they said, "What do you think about Ted Cruz running for president? And, you know, he's got an axe to grind with you." And this is what Tucker Carlson said. He laughed. I can hear Tucker's laugh right now. But he said, "This is hilarious. Good luck," Carlson said. "That's my comment and heartfelt view." And, you know, Ted Cruz saying that Tucker Carlson is, you know, he's putting forth vile rhetoric. I'm not really sure what vile rhetoric Ted Cruz is talking about. I think there's plenty of vile rhetoric being thrown at us from the left. And we could use 2028 as an opportunity to unite rather than go through another MAGA rhino split in the party. And Ted Cruz is sorely mistaken if he thinks he's popular enough to go up against Vice President J.D. Vance in 2028. And being anti-Tucker Carlson is such a strange way to kickstart a potential campaign. You can disagree with Tucker Carlson on Israel or Russia or any issues, right? But you can't deny his popularity. Why set yourself apart as the Republican presidential candidate who hates Tucker Carlson? Someone in the media that has the power to amplify a campaign and policy platforms to potential voters. Another weird thing that Ted Cruz did lately, Brett Cooper was talking about all this, you know, conservative Civil War beef, right? And she was talking about Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz said that he didn't know who Brett Cooper was. And she's got millions of followers. And this just tells me that Ted Cruz is so out of touch when it comes to young conservatives. The Gen Z and Gen Alpha conservative movement didn't just start and end with Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. There are so many more prominent younger voices, Brett being one of them. And for Ted Cruz to come out and be like, "Yeah, I don't know who this is. I've never heard of her." That's also strange. So you're totally out of touch with younger generations, people that he's going to need to vote for him, especially these younger people, especially younger men that are trending more to the right. Why would they vote for a Republican candidate that doesn't give a shit about them and what they're listening to and who they're tuned into in the movement? Trump won over Gen Z men, by the way, in the 2024 election by going on these manosphere podcasts, doing Theo Vaughn, talking with the Nelk Boys, making content with Aiden Ross. he was in that space because he met those younger men where they were. He met those voters where they were. And whoever wants to be the next Republican president, by the way, is going to have to start winning over more young women as well. Young women, young conservative women who listen to Brett Cooper, by the way. And Ted Cruz, if he decides to run, which is a huge mistake in my opinion, should not alienate the fans of some of the most popular voices in conservative media. It's just stupid. All right, let's get into scrolling time. You didn't even put yourselves on camera. We were all dancing in here today.
The camera's turned the other way. Look.
Oh. No, never mind. All right, well, this first video is Pete Buttigieg, Mayor Pete, talking about J.D. Vance. I guess this was an event with the Texas Tribune. I don't know who's interviewing him, but he's like pointing at him. Watch this.
Do you think that J.D. Vance is a fascist?
If it's convenient for him to be a fascist, he'll be a fascist. Maybe later on he'll go back to being a Silicon Valley Democrat. He'll be whatever he needs to be. Right? I mean, this is a guy who went from Donald Trump as Hitler, what he said, to, I have seen the error of my ways. He'll be something new later on, maybe.
Was J.D. Vance ever a Silicon Valley Democrat? Do you guys think that? Was J.D. Vance ever a Silicon Valley Democrat? I know he said, I'm a never Trump guy. Like, he kind of went through like a never Trumper phase, but clearly they're past that. But would I ever claim that J.D. Vance was a Democrat? Not really. I just thought that was so weird. And he was like, is J.D. Vance a fascist? Like, who interviews someone like this? He's literally like shaking his finger at him. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But, Pete Buttigieg, he's out there and he's talking about how J.D. Vance is just this like shapeshifter, right? And Pete is the exact same way. He'll be whatever the Democrat Party needs him to be. The Democrat Party, they're so crazy and so woke. He's like, you want to see me chest feed my adopted sons? Like, I'll put on fake boobs and I'll be whatever you want. He'll be the first openly gay box check. You got it. You want me to say all the right buzzwords? Hitler, fascist, Nazi. Like, he's the same way. This is all politicians. They say whatever they need to say to get your vote, to maintain power over you so that they can make more money and have more power and keep that money and keep that power. That is all that this is about. I just think it's funny, Pete Buttigieg trying to be like this big macho man, yeah, J.D. Vance is a fascist. It's like, you're also a shapeshifter, dude. All right, this next woman, she was talking on campus. Kristen Hawkins, she's pro-life. She does a lot of these campus tours similar to Charlie Kirk, where she tries to change people's minds specifically about abortion. Here's the conversation she had with a liberal woman who said that she's totally fine with ending her bloodline. Watch this.
So I've had an abortion. Do you think I'm an evil person for having an abortion?
No.
Then why? So
I'm sorry you had an abortion. And
I'm not.
And
I'm not sorry.
I wish you felt like you didn't have to choose.
No, I
your
wanted
life
to
and your
choose
child.
that.
You wanted to choose to have an abortion? Maybe?
Yes.
Were you excited to have your abortion?
No, it was the most painful process I've ever been through, and I will do it again 1,000%.
What made you feel like you had to choose abortion?
I chose it because it was my choice to make, and because I didn't want to bring a child into a world that's dying.
The world is dying?
Yes, the world is dying.
How is that going to help the world from not dying?
Well, why would having a kid while I'm trying to go through college and support my family, how would that benefit me?
Well, do you think your life is just about you?
Yeah, it is, because it's my life.
Do you think you have any duty as a member of our society, or do you think your body or your life is meant for anything greater than just your own pursuits?
No.
Is there any point to this life?
No.
I feel really sorry for you.
I don't.
But I feel really bad that you had an abortion. I hope
That's
you go
great for you.
standingwithyou.org, you get resources, and if you ever find yourself pregnant again,
I would abort it immediately again.
I hope there.
Gross.
Do you think there's something less extreme that we
Yeah,
could
I'm gonna
do?
get sterilized next year, actually.
That's really sad. That's really sad.
It's not sad.
I'm sorry you feel that you have to do that.
I'm ending my bloodline, and I'm proud of that.
I have nothing but sympathy for you because I feel truly sorry for you.
Democrats, especially Democrat women, they are so doom and gloom. She's talking about, like, how could I bring a child into this world that is dying? And then the truth comes out. They keep having a conversation, and all of a sudden, it's not because the world is dying. It's because she's going through college, and Well, how can she have a baby and go through college at the same time? She's selfish. She literally said nothing else in the world matters other than my own pursuits. And then she admits that it was one of the most painful things that she's ever been through, but she'd do it again because it's her choice to make. That's not even really a real reason to do it. But it was my choice, so I chose to do it. And then at the end there, she's just laughing through the pain. And I, too, feel very sorry for her. It's very sad. All right, let's finish on this last cat delivery video because I want to end on a funny note, and it's really cute. All right, so here is an Amazon delivery driver. He's hopping out of the white van here. Cat hops in the car. Then the delivery driver takes the cat out of the van, and the cat goes right back in. Out, back in again. Now the cat just wants all the boxes. In, out. Now the driver's trying to close the door. He thinks he's going to be slick. He thinks he's going to be able to get the cat out and close the door in time. Think again. He's getting dejected now. You can tell he's tired. He's trying this one last time. Oh, cat goes right back in the... Now he's at the front door. Cat's being dropped out again. Finally. How many times was that? Probably like 15 times? 15 times. In, out, in, out, in, out. You know what? That would have made my day. But I think the cat really saw a gold mine because there were all the cardboard boxes in the world, and I know Birdie loves cardboard boxes.
Do you buy Birdie any toys?
Yeah.
Or is it just cardboard box heaven?
No, I buy her toys. She doesn't really like any of her toys. Sometimes she'll play with them. She loves a laser pointer. She'll go absolutely berserk over it. But yeah, she loves hopping in those boxes.
It's always the box. I don't buy anything because I just throw trash on the floor and it's like...
And they hop right in.
Cat heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then if sometimes I get salads from the grocery store and they come in these plastic boxes and I rip off this little plastic tab. She's like, this is the greatest toy I've ever seen. I drop a plastic tab on the floor and she's like, ah! I have all these toys. There's one toy though that Birdie does play with, and I got it off of TikTok Shop actually. And it's kind of like a wind-up toy, and it shoots off a little propeller, and she will play fetch with it. She will run after the propeller, and then she'll bring it back. Very smart girl. Anyway.
When I went to feed your cat, I was fascinated by that. I noticed that. I played with it a little bit too.
Yeah, she's kind of like a dog. She's very friendly, and she plays fetch. So anyway. Thank you for scrolling along with me. You could follow me at Hayley Caronia on most social media platforms. I'm on X, I'm on Truth Social, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye.